Welcome back, everybody. Justin Minton of Minton Law Firm is here to explain some of the injuries and maybe even some diseases and things to watch for when you go to a nail salon. Good to see you, Justin.
You too.
You and I were just getting a pedicure just the other day together and talking. No, I'm no, we really weren't. But a lot of women go there, and there's a lot of sharp edges in my mind. You've got clippers, you've got files, you've got pointy edges, and you've got a whole bunch of things. There are injuries that can happen, aren't there?
Yeah, it does happen. Some of the things that you see is mostly infection related. Could be spreading of diseases if there's, dirty tools or that kind of stuff.
Right, yeah, we're going to talk more about that, about places you can go, but I guess it could happen anywhere because inadvertent skin piercing is probably going to happen sometimes.
Right, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be drawing blood at for a manicure or pedicure, and if it does, some of the techs that I've talked to, immediately stop. Alcohol, swab, that kind of stuff.
Well, that would seem like the thing, but yeah, there can be some pretty nasty infections that you can get.
Sure, yeah, staph infections are common. I haven't seen hepatitis or HIV passed along, but it can be. I mean, if you use dirty tools on somebody and you pierce the skin, that can happen. Nail fungus, that's another, type of disease or bacterial infection that can be passed along. So,
even if you're just clipping or you get a cut on a hangnail or something like that, it can become infected and you start to see that infection start to come up. So I'm guessing that's probably the thing that most people are looking for, those infections. It can be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you need to be watching for infection. If you start to run a fever, wherever they've been working on starts to become red.
Right.
Go to a doctor or, get medical treatment right away.
Absolutely. Now, you talked to some nail techs about this, and what did they say about some of the concerns they have for some of the various places you might go?
Well, I mean, some of the concerns I've seen is that, if you're going to a place that takes walk-ins, and a lot of people will take walk-ins, but if there are people lined up, you're fourth or fifth in line,
right?
The techs that are working there might not have time to clean their tools properly. So that's a concern that I've seen.
And you may not even know, right?
Yeah, I mean, so you can ask. I mean, it's a good idea to ask. And especially if you're sitting there, watch and say, watch the tech. Are they washing their hands? Are they, and you can also check the baths, see if they look like they've been disinfected. Are there dirty tools lying around? And don't hesitate to ask them how they clean their tools. At a minimum, they're supposed to disinfect them with an EPA-approved disinfectant. There are other methods of disinfecting them. Autoclaves, you can use those. It heats them up. But ask them. You can bring your own tools if you want. That's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So don't hesitate to do that because there are guidelines out there.
Right.
Okay. Now, one thing is there a licensing process for these places? There
is, and that's a big concern from the people that I've talked to is because, let's say somebody goes and gets a license. I've got my license. It's above my booth right here, but there's no picture on it.
Yeah.
And so you could be sitting there doing somebody's pedicure and nobody knows. And from what I understand, even the Department of Health, they drop in, they do periodic checks.
Right.
But they don't ever check ID, so nobody knows who's doing what, really.
So the enforcement may be something that needs to be looked into.
A little lackluster.
Yeah. Sure. All right. Well, what happens if you think you have become infected and you've got a real problem? What should you do?
Well, I mean, get medical treatment right away because it can be deadly. I mean, you can get an infection that gets septic. Take photos of it. If there's the entry point is the key. If there's a visible wound, something like that, take a photo of it. You can report the salon. The Department of Health will come out, check them out. They've got an email address. You can email it in real easy. And then consult a lawyer and see if they have a case there because there could be other evidence that you want to preserve. Videos a lot of times inside these stores might show tools not ever leaving a workstation, not ever being disinfected.
Right. So. And you have your own phone and you can record all of that. So keep your receipts, keep your photos, and make, I would guess, notes on that as well. But contacting the Arkansas Department of Health Cosmetology and Massage Therapy section also.
Yes.
Hey, man, great advice there for a lot of folks who do that quite frequently, and I know there are a lot of Arkansans. Thanks so much for your advice, Justin.
You bet. Thank you.
Yeah, and Justin Minton Law Firm, Landers Corporate Plaza, Building 200, 2246-1. That's Interstate 30 in Bryant. And his phone number is 653-2111. All right, next, getting a final check-in with Jason and Shannon in the kitchen. It's Diamond Chef's Final Check coming up.